What's happening, everybody? Just a couple of quick reminders that tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, me and Argnolia Strokebean will be live on each other's channels. We'll be discussing the music of the 1950s on our Music Memories series there. Also, later, soon afterwards, we'll be live on Minnesota Vikings fans' channel, known as Real as Fuck TV, aka Minnesota Vikings fan, for of course Real as Fuck TV. Who knows what's going to happen this time? It'll be myself, Minnesota Vikings fan, his cousin Minnesota Silver Roll Hunter, possibly Redneck will be joining the program. And if Bullfrog's going to be there, I'll tolerate it like I did last week. But if he's going to start saying stupid shit again, then we're going to have to step in. I'm going to have some questions for Bullfrog on what he said. Apparently what I was sent a couple of things that Bullfrog supposedly had tweeted out. I want to ask him about that as well. Alright, so enough of that. On to the topics of this video here. Rest in peace to two well-known figures within the both the rock and roll and pro wrestling industries. Let me start off with rest in peace to Road Warrior Animal, who died yesterday. He was, I guess, 60 years old. We don't know what the cause of it was, his death. But him, along with his brother and tag team partner, Hawk, who passed away, as you know, many years before, were total dominance over almost every tag team division of whichever company they worked for. Whether it was the WWF, WCW, and of course NWA, and whichever other promotions that they worked for. Total dominance. I remember seeing them at the old NWA TV shows on the TBS station, the Superstation, and they were like just one notch of, okay, go, from their manager, and they were like, Rah! Go after opponents like gangbusters. Now, in the WWF, as you know, they were known as the Legion of Doom, whereas everywhere else they were the Road Warriors. Of course, the name and the look that they had were, of course, inspired by the Mad Max franchise. Of course, at that time, the name taken from a movie entitled The Road Warrior, which was a sequel to the first Mad Max movie, which, as you know, came out in 1980, 81, if I remember. Got to look that up sometime soon. Hawk developed a substance abuse issue later on, throughout the later part of the 1990s. Apparently he had to leave. He would come back briefly, but sadly he passed away from those particular issues, what I understand. Animal was left on his own to carry on the legacy. He was involved with Ric Flair's faction in the last few years of WCW's existence. And I guess up until his death, Animal has been doing independent shows, signing autograph sessions at wrestling conventions, Comic-Cons, you name it there. So, rest in peace to you, Animal. You and the Hawk are now reunited up in squared circle heaven. And also I want to say rest in peace to Mr. Lee Kerslake. Now, I did a couple of videos on this gentleman before. He was, of course, the drummer for both Uriah Heep and Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz group. And, by the way, that was originally was supposed to have been called. I remember seeing some promo photos of the name Blizzard of Oz and the members lined up there. It was, of course, Ozzy, Randy Rhoads, Kerslake, and Bob Daisley. It was originally been called Son of Sabbath, for what I remember reading before before this happened. As you know, they recorded 2 albums, Blizzard of Oz and Diary of a Madman, which both came out in 1981. Now, some say Blizzard of Oz came out in 1980, but I remember it was specifically 1981. Who knows, it may have came out a year before, or actually a year later, I meant to say. Apparently, that first record must have came out in 1980 and just didn't cross over to the States until a year later, till when it was picked up by a US label called Jet Records. Now, after the recording of Diary of a Madman, Daisley and Kerslake were soon fired by then Sharon Alden, who later became Sharon Osbourne. Apparently for reasons unknown there, we don't know what the problem was. Apparently she decided to replace both with Rudy Sarzo on bass and Tommy Aldridge on drums. Now, Kerslake and Daisley were not happy about this. They felt that the credibility that they lended to Ozzy's success were somehow pushed to the side, pushed to the back burner, excuse me, because according to both, they did contribute a lot to the songs, the production, and everything else, and including the arrangements of the songs. Excuse me again. Throat's getting fucked up here. I gotta take a swig of this. That's a lot better. Now, Kerslake and Daisley, as you know, sued Ozzy and Sharon for unpaid royalties and also to receive credit on those two records. Because if you look inside the inner sleeve of Diary of a Madman, it states Osbourne, Rhodes, Sarzo, and Aldridge as the Ozzy Osbourne Band, written in a different language there. So basically, they got pushed to the side. They got fucked over, needless to say. Now, Kerslake, on his part, only requested one little thing there. Since him and Daisy were not able to prevail with their lawsuits, Kerslake stated that he would at least like to have 2 platinum albums of those 2 albums delivered to him. It was revealed at that time that he was suffering from cancer and only had months to live. So Ozzy, granted his dying wish, gave him what he wanted, which was those 2 platinum albums and a huge thank you note to Lee. Which was, when you think about it, it's kind of bogus because they should have received a lot more for their credit. Because, as we stated, they were huge factors in Ozzy's success. They contributed a lot of lyrics, a lot of chords, a lot of things there. Especially lyrics. I guess Daisley did a lot of the lyrics for those 2 records because, as you know, Osbourne suffered from dyslexia at that time. I guess he still does. Of course he still does. What the fuck am I talking about? Of course, Kerslake, no longer with us, which is sad because he also was a good contributor to the band Uriah Heep years before. Excuse me. I don't know why that's happening. It's been happening a lot as of late, but once again, excuse me for that. Soon after their firing from the Ozzy camp, Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley, of course, joined the newly reformed Uriah Heep. Apparently was Heep guitarist and founding member Mick Box got a hold of Kerslake to contact him over the phone to wish him good luck on the Ozzy tour. Kerslake said, "Wait a minute, I'm not touring with Ozzy." In which Box replied, "Great, come on over. Let's do something. Let's get Uriah Heep back together," in which they did. Eventually, they would record some albums together, including one of my favorites from them from 1985, Equator, which I highly recommend. along with the considered the most heinous album cover of 1982, a Bottomog, along which, by the way, was half original, half covers. I should probably discuss that record later on some program or on videos such as this. But once again, we got the word this past Sunday, Kerslake passing away at age 73. So, once again, rest in peace to both Animal and Lee Kerslake for their accomplishments in the pro wrestling and heavy metal industries. You will be definitely missed, and you will be honored as well by all of us fans. And I just want to say one other thing, and this is directed towards Sharon. I don't know what the deal was with you firing those two guys, Daisley and Kerslake, but as far as we know, you did them no justice by doing what you did. You couldn't honor a man who was dying of cancer, despite you having cancer issues yourself early in the 2000s. At the height of the Osbourne's reality show, you were going through this. You know, it was just flat out wrong, you know. And to make matters even worse, when those two records were remixed and reissued, remastered, the bass and drums from those two guys were removed in place of the drummer from Faith No More, Mike Borden, I guess his name was, and Metallica's current bass player, Robert Trujillo. If I'm wrong on the pronunciation of both their names, feel free to correct me in the comments below. So, that ends this vlog for the time being. Once again, music memories with me and Argnolia Strokebean, and Real as Fuck TV later on soon, right after. Alright, I'm Dr. Earl. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below about this. Hit that like button and must subscribe to my channel as well as Argnolia's channel. It's called Argnolia Strokebean. Sub to his channel as well. You cats have a good one.